Despite that, in the porn world stardom, you were paid a grand total for all the 12 sex videos you made. You were paid a grand total of $12,000 US.
This is Mia Khalifa. Let's just pretend you've never heard of her. In 2014, she became the #1 ranked performer on Pornhub after she starred in a porno wearing the hijab. This is the Google search trend for Mia after the video went up. And this is it compared to Nick Jonas, whose song Jealous hit #6 on the Billboard charts that year. The #1 porn star, who had more clout than a Jonas brother, was making half the salary of a cashier at Walmart. Fast forward to 2020 and things had changed.
In basically 2 months and a half, I've made $27,000. That's crazy.
From May 15th to June 15th, my gross was $24,005.84.
So in total, I made $3,560 for 1 week.
What the fuck? How did we go from this?
You were paid a grand total of $12,000 US.
To this.
2 months and a half, I've made $27,000. That's crazy.
That's not crazy. That's insane. Look how many YouTube subscribers she has. My mom has more subscribers than that. What I want to know is, why are people suddenly willing to pay for porn on OnlyFans when they can get the same thing for free on Pornhub? How the fuck did all this happen? Before I figure out why people started paying for porn, I want to figure out why they stopped paying for it in the first place. So I started reading about this group of college nerds who, back in 2004, had an idea. What if the porn industry had a threesome with YouTube and Napster? The business model would be simple. Just like Napster, they'd give away pirated content for free, which would attract a lot of viewers. Then, like YouTube, they'd sell their viewers' eyeballs to advertisers, which is how they would make money. So the college nerds start churning out all of these different tube sites with tons of stolen content, and they were a hit, a big hit. Meanwhile, the old school porn studios whose content they were stealing were all,
"Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules?"
And the college nerds were all,
"Man, I'm not trying to scam anybody here. I'm just..."
Then this even richer nerd comes along and buys up all of the tube sites. And since most of the old school porn studios were sinking towards bankruptcy at this point, he was like, might as well buy those for a discount too.
The press loves to call me the king of porn.
So at this point, he owned the free sites and he owned the paid sites. In other words, he had a monopoly.
Monopoly, a nice, ruthless, money-hungry family game.
I've always thought of porn stars as ballers. But the more I read about the business, I started to understand that most porn stars get paid next to nothing. Listen to this interview I found with an actor from Deep Throat, one of the first hardcore mainstream pornos.
I acted in the movie, Deep Throat, 1972, for a day, was paid a minimal amount of money.
Was I right, $100?
$100, right.
The thing is, by 2014, people weren't even buying DVDs like Deep Throat anymore. They were watching them for free on one of the gazillion websites that the rich nerd had bought. And because of this, performers started getting paid $600 a scene instead of $3,000, which is why this happened.
You were paid a grand total of $12,000 US.
Meanwhile, the rich nerd who'd bought up all of the tube sites was taking pictures of his new McLaren and installing an aquarium at his house that was so large, a professional diver had to come in once a week just to clean it. Okay, so this is what we've got so far. There's a rich nerd who has monopolized the porn industry, and there's a bunch of adult performers who are pissed because their pay sucks. And then this happens.
You ever feel stressed out? Get a haircut.
Every day, Khaled hilariously chronicles the minutiae of his life via the popular mobile app, where pictures and videos are posted to a story and then disappear after 24 hours.
An app that allowed you to post and distribute video on mobile, message people, and accept payment. Who could that possibly appeal to? So adult performers woke the fuck up, decided to say fuck you to the tube sites, and moved on over to Snapchat. They started public accounts where they gained followers by posting up sexy photos. Then they'd tell people to subscribe to their premium Snapchat.
We talked about our private Snapchat. I'll leave the link for our private Snapchat in the description.
Buy it and watch us spew whores.
I thought that this premium model was something that Snapchat officially offered, but it was actually just something that adult performers hacked together so that they could sell porn. They'd create a private Snapchat account, and if people wanted to see the porn they posted there, they had to pay a subscription through PayPal. It probably seems like this was a small-scale operation, like the porn version of a lemonade stand, but it turns out that performers were making bank. One of the bigger Snapchat stars was Lena the Plug, and I found these interviews with her boyfriend Adam 22 where he reveals how much she made.
I think that her first week with a private Snapchat, she made like 30 grand. I know a bunch of girls who make 6 figures a month from private Snap or whatever, and in some cases, multiple 6 figures a month.
At first it was just girls who were new to the industry who were doing Snapchat porn, like Lena the Plug. But eventually they were making so much money that established mainstream porn stars like Lana Rhoades and Leela Starr left their contracts with MindGeek to focus on Snapchat.
Face it, when you go and do porn and you get paid $1,000 to get railed out for a couple hours, you are getting like a tiny percentage of the money that clip will ever make. Whereas if you do something on Snapchat, you are getting like 90% of the fucking money, you know?
No, and they act like they don't make any money because like piracy, like now that I make my own shit, like they're fucking making money and they're lying, saying that they can only afford to pay you $1,000 a month. That's not true.
Okay, so the whole reason I got caught up in premium Snapchat is because the subscription model that adult performers hacked together there was the same model that OnlyFans would use a few years later, except that instead of having to create private, under-the-table accounts like they did on Snapchat that constantly got shut down, OnlyFans officially allowed adult performers to post and charge for porn. But I still haven't answered my original question that sent me down this rabbit hole. Why are people willing to pay for porn on Snapchat or on OnlyFans when they can get the same thing on Pornhub for free? At this point, porn had taken over my entire life. I was thinking about it at my stupid day job. I was thinking about it when I ate my cereal in the morning. I read about business structure. I read about disruption. I read a bunch of boring shit on a bunch of boring websites like the Harvard fucking Business Review. Finally, one day, I started to have an epiphany. When adult performers got people to subscribe to their premium Snapchat, they'd basically figured out how to disrupt the monopoly that the rich nerd had on the porn industry. So then I start reading more boring articles about monopolies, and I stumble upon this article about Starbucks and how its CEO, Howard Schultz, was able to turn it into the world's biggest coffee chain. And that's when I figured out the answer. That's when I figured out how Snapchat and OnlyFans were able to charge money for something that used to be free. See, in the 1970s, coffee in America was disgusting. It came in a can, it was stale, and it was cheap. But when Howard Schultz went on a trip to Italy, he fell in love with the coffee bars they had there. The coffee was delicious, and the atmosphere was so comfortable that people hung out for hours. When he came back to America, his vision for Starbucks was to replicate that amazing experience he'd had. By selling fancy European coffee in a nice atmosphere, Starbucks was able to transform coffee from a cheap commodity into a luxury that sold for double the price. So why are people willing to pay for premium Snapchat or OnlyFans when they can get the same thing for free on Pornhub? The answer is that it's not the same thing. It's better. It's premium, just like Starbucks coffee. Howard Schultz had turned Starbucks into this middle ground between work and home. And that's exactly what adult performers did. They turned premium Snapchat into a middle ground between porn and girlfriend, what I've come to think of as the virtual girlfriend experience. The regular in-person version of the girlfriend experience is basically just the premise of Pretty Woman.
Vivian, I have a business proposition for you. I'm going to be in town until Sunday. I'd like you to spend the week with me.
Look, I'd love to be your beck and call girl, but you're a rich, good-looking guy. You could get 1 million girls free.
I want a professional. Don't need any romantic hassles this week.
If you're talking 24 hours a day, it's gonna cost you.
Remember how Howard went to Italy and brought back fancy-ass coffee to Middle America? Well, the premium Snapchat girls brought the idea of a high-end escort like Vivian to the internet. When you compare the $5 that people pay for an OnlyFans subscription to the thousands of dollars that people pay for the girlfriend experience,
6 full nights, days to 4,000.
the business model makes way more sense. So here's how girls like Lena the Plug create the virtual girlfriend experience on OnlyFans. Unlike a camgirl site where performers jerk off to a chat room of 500 guys, adult performers on OnlyFans send porn privately to their clients. At Starbucks, they write your name on the cup to personalize it, and on OnlyFans, girls say their client's name as they play with themselves. It's really all the same if you think about it. The girlfriend experience is all about intimacy without the bullshit of being in a long-term relationship. So girls on OnlyFans don't just strip for their clients, they talk to them. They say good morning and good night. They learn the names of their clients' kids and pets and when their birthdays are. Just like Starbucks baristas who make small talk and remember your personalized coffee order, girls on OnlyFans become part therapist, part friend. In fact, when you look at the job description for a Starbucks barista, they're basically looking for the same resume as an OnlyFans girl. In traditional porn, the performers were employees, and not very happy ones.
You were paid a grand total of $12,000.
But when the rich nerd took over, those jilted employees migrated over to Snapchat and OnlyFans and became small business owners. And an owner is going to care way more about the business than an employee does, particularly when you cut out the middleman and all of the money now goes in their pocket. Plus, it was way more enjoyable for the adult performers to play with themselves in the comfort of their own bedroom.
And you're on set for 12 hours sometimes,
Yeah,
like
for
so
long-ass
crazy.
hours, you know, basically doing whatever the fuck they tell you to do. And if you're not cool with something, you know, you get pressured into doing it. You know, it's ridiculous. And people don't have to deal with that anymore because we have so many other options.
Yeah.
Howard Schultz figured out that a company built on exceptional customer service would need employees who are happy, which is why Starbucks offers health insurance and stock options. As it turns out, happier people not only make better coffee, they make better porn. Now, as successful as OnlyFans is, it doesn't mean that sites like Pornhub have gone away. The original owner of Pornhub, the rich nerd with the McLaren and the aquarium, he sold the company to another rich nerd. But Pornhub alone still gets 100 million users per day. If you're wondering what happened to Mia Khalifa,
you were paid a grand total of $12,000.
Well, she recently started a TikTok campaign educating young women about the dangers of the porn industry. She has 9.4 million followers. As for Lena the Plug, she was recently featured in Forbes for becoming a millionaire. 95% of her revenue comes from premium Snapchat and OnlyFans subscriptions. She doesn't have a McLaren yet, but recently she bought an Audi Q3.
That's crazy.
So, is it cool that people can pay for the porn they actually want to see and that performers can make the porn they actually want to make? God, yes. Is it inspiring that Lena the Plug made 7 figures last year from Snapchat and OnlyFans? Also yes. Am I going to start an OnlyFans?
That's entirely possible.